All right, we are right at 10 o'clock here. So good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this week's installment of the Long Coffee Break. My name is Chris Visconti. I'm a sales engineer on the hydronics and plumbing team here at Long. And this morning, I'm very excited to have Jason Vega with Miura joining us. And Jason's going to talk to us about safe and efficient steam generation with Miura boilers. Jason, take it away.
Thanks, Chris. So good morning, everyone. As Chris just mentioned, my name is Jason Vega. I am a regional sales manager with Miura America. I support the Midwest and Pacific Northwest teams. Prior to joining the Miura team, I spent some time in the military, as you can see there. I have my master's from Emory University, and I'm a project management professional. I'd like to draw your attention to that little steam engine that could there on the bottom right. This is our family steam engine. This thing is a throwback to the olden days of steam-powered farm equipment, which is a direct connection to what I do at Miura. This thing is still functional after 100 years from delivery. So pretty old engine, but pretty great. So we are Miura America. Our origins are in Matsuyama, Japan, where our founder started Miura with steam-powered farming equipment back in 1927. Even though we have humble beginnings, our company is the largest boiler manufacturer in the world today. Miura is part of a global company that traces its roots back to the founding member of Miura, but is now a full company, like I said, that reaches very different markets throughout the country and the world. So our headquarters are in Rockmart, Georgia, where we build boilers in support of both North and South American operations. We have a pretty robust new operation down in South America with offices in Mexico City and in Brazil. So our facility there in Rockmart, Georgia, builds all the boilers for both of those countries. We'd like to point out that we have a strong safety culture at our facilities, and we're proud to say that we're one of the only, or one of 9 SHARP certified manufacturers in the state of Georgia. So along with our regional sales offices, we have a strong rep network, which allows us to be present and relevant throughout the United States. These offices have also been the foundation of our growth since coming to the US. Right here, you can see some of the associations that Miura actively participates with and is a member of, and some of our distinguished customers. A lot of names there you probably recognize. So we've worked with a lot of customers. So products, what does Miura do? Miura creates boilers. So we have two primary boiler models. Our flagship boiler is the LX model. This model comes in 50 horsepower all the way to 300 and increases in 50 horsepower increments. These boilers are gas fired only and capable of producing ultra low NOx, less than 9 parts per million boilers. The EX boiler is our dual fuel boiler, which operates on a gas and a fuel oil. Additionally, this boiler has now been retrofitted to fit biofuels. The key to having this boiler is that for any customers that require dual fuels, such as hospitals or critical operators that need 2 fuel sources, this is the boiler of choice. Something to point out here is that both of these models go from cold start to full operational steam in less than 5 minutes. That's attributed to the low water content, which we'll talk a little bit about more here in the future. But additionally, once the boilers are on and operational, they will shut themselves off as necessary to support the steam needs, but they come back up and fully running in less than 60 seconds. That's really only that long just to accommodate a purge cycle to ensure that there's no gas buildup in the gas stream. So just talk a little bit about how combustion works for a Miura system. Air comes in through the air intake side of the house, goes into our air fuel mixing chamber, and combustion happens through our burners. That combustion then goes into the pressure vessel, where there's direct flame touches each one of the tubes, and the water turns into steam there. All that residual heat coming from that pressure vessel is then piped through a economizer that comes standard with every single one of our boilers. So the other piece of creating steam is the water side. So what you see there now, kind of working back from the back of the boiler towards the front, is that we have water coming in from your water source. In this case, could be an open feed tank or a deaerator, and it's pre-treated in the economizer, then goes into your pressure vessel where it flashes to steam. I'd like to point out here too that you see that there's a stacked water column. We won't have a traditional sight glass like you're used to seeing in older boilers. That's because the flame in the front is stronger than towards the rear. So you'd actually have a stacked water volume. So we use liquid volume controllers and safety measures to ensure that there's enough water in the pressure vessel to maintain operations. Then steam will then go into the collection drum and through a steam separator, producing 99.2% dry steam. So Miura is also capable of providing turnkey systems, not just boilers. So this includes Miura ancillary equipment and vendor sold ancillaries to complete the total boiler room package. Keep in mind here that all Miura equipment has capability to communicate with our control systems. And this really improves system reliability and system self-care. We design a system that's going to try to preserve itself. That's important since right now we have a lack of knowledgeable operators out there in the world. So here's our controlling systems. The BL controller, which comes with every single boiler, is the user interface for boiler operators and technicians. I'd like to point out that that little green button you may be able to see there is the on and off button for the boiler system. That is all you need for an operator to come in the morning, turn on the boiler comes up to operations, no valve turning. This is all you need. Simplicity is critical at this point. Like as I mentioned before, operators, knowledgeable operators are in short supply, so we try to create the simplest possible system. So next to that, you'll see the BP panel. This is the master controller for modular installations, which is Miura's bread and butter. We like a modular system. We'll talk a little bit about that again in the future here. But this is used to optimize your boiler plant. Our WP2 panel allows for precision chemical treatment for larger installations. This is not a piece of equipment that's necessary for single boiler installation, but certainly once you get into your bigger horsepower installations, you want to have something that is treating the system appropriately. Next to that, is the colorimetry. This is the ultimate boiler room protection accessory. This allows for on-time, real-time, hardness monitoring and detection. That unit right there has the potential to save a boiler room from catastrophe. As we know, hardness is the greatest enemy of small water content boilers, which is what Miura are. And so this piece of equipment, I highly recommend to any customer, regardless if they choose a Miura system or not. This is a critical piece of equipment. And last, I'll talk about Miura Connect. This is our latest development. What this does is allows our customers and technicians full visibility into boiler rooms via IP communications. So you can now log into your phone or an iPad on the road and have full visibility into your boiler room, any alerts, and the full status of your plant. So safety and efficiency, our topic, right? So what does unsafe look like? I'd like to draw you guys' attention to that picture there in the bottom left. Years ago, this happened a few months ago here in Central Oregon. It's a chip factory not too far from where I live that had a boiler critical failure. So the reality is that many US manufacturers have aging infrastructure and a need for experienced operators. To mitigate both of those, Miura is designing and producing simple and efficient systems that reduce the need for expert boiler operators. Again, I'd like to kind of go back to that little green button. Of course, this is subject to local requirements. Some municipalities have requirements for licensed operators, but not all. So safety, how do we accomplish this, right? The key to the biggest safety feature on the Miura boiler is the low water content, right? Our largest boiler, the 300 horsepower model, has less than 130 gallons in it. Even in a multiple installation where you have 900 horsepower, you would still be sub 400 gallons of water in the system. So what does that mean? When you compare it to a 900 gallon fire tube boiler, you could be talking about 1,000 gallons plus in there compared to that. So that means less kinetic energy in the event of a critical failure. So that kinetic energy is what transfers into buildings disappearing, if you want to, kind of keep track of what I'm talking about here. So the other part of that's a huge safety feature is here that we have a number of sensors built into the boiler. These are designed to with the operator preservation and boiler preservation in mind, meaning that as these sensors detect the fault, the boiler shuts itself off and prevents, again, anything from progressing to that point of critical failure. Another great safety feature that Miura provides is that each boiler is bench tested in-house before it ships. So this is the first opportunity for a Miura technician and engineering to take a look at the boiler, ensure that 5 minutes or less of steam capability is being met, and where we start to set in some additional safety features into the boiler, such as scale, benchmarks, so we can ensure that we protect the boiler, program those in. Again, when those sensors detect any issues, the boiler starts alerting and eventually shutting itself down. Excuse me. So the other piece here, continuing on kind of the process of design to delivery, is boiler startup and commissioning, right? When a boiler is delivered and it's ready for startup, meaning that the boiler's been installed by a local contractor, the boiler will be started by a Miura factory trained technician. This is critical, right? Because it's the first time that in the field, someone with Miura factory training is going to evaluate your system. They're going to walk the entire installation to verify things are looking good and activate the boiler along with your system operators in order to ensure that they understand what the boiler operations should look like. And then finally, annual, semi-annual inspections are accompanied by those same technicians. So you start to build a rapport. The technician understands the boiler, where it's at. This is where we're going to be with you for your insurance inspections and general inspections. We bore scope the boilers, ensure that there's nothing happening. And if we do detect issues, this is the point where we start to create a corrective actions plan with you to ensure that we can preserve the life of those boilers. So efficiency, there on your left is what people are paying today for natural gas. As you can tell, it's trending upward and really shows no sign of slowing at this point. So how do we combat these prices? Well, it's all about efficiency. Miura's least efficient model is at 85%, our highest efficient at 87%. That's out of the box, no additional equipment. Excuse me. Paired with other industry optimizers, we can also achieve an additional 5 points of efficiency. That's a highly efficient system for a customer, right? And what we're looking at here is a potential drop in utility costs of up to 20%. Even for our hardest on us customers that require the fastest paybacks, it's a pretty easy payback schedule to present the customer, which we help our reps present when the customer asks for that. So how do we achieve this efficiency, right? So we do this via the use of our unique burner design. They're not operational, they're not running, you're not wasting fuel. And of course, the non-condensing economizers that come standard with every boiler. I really want to talk about economizers right now because economizers are typically an add-on to most boiler systems. They require significant infrastructure upgrades to building shells and roofs and can be pretty pricey for the total cost. So the payback, really not showing where it needs to be. It's also important to consider the fact that when you price a Miura against our competitors, you really need to consider the system efficiency of the Miura, not just the dollar per horsepower, if you would. To accomplish the same level of efficiency, a competitor has to typically add economizers or select multiple pass boilers, which add complexity and cost of the boiler. It isn't simply apples to apples. You really want to consider how your total cost of ownership is affected by the system efficiency. Okay, so those items, along with the modular installation concept, can really cut down on wasted utilities. Traditional designs require backup or large boilers to manage high peak loads and can result in a lot of spent fuel and water due to oversizing. A modular system allows for a design that can manage peak loads while only running the boilers the customer needs during those non-peak loads. This allows for built-in redundancy and has a significant risk reduction as you always have a boiler that's operational. Okay, so I think the reality is we have to rethink this typical steam boiler, right? Compact size, right? Miura boilers are about half the size of your traditional boiler for horsepower, saying so if a 300 horsepower boiler is half the size of a fire tube 300 horsepower boiler. This allows us to build small and efficiently, greatly reducing large boiler rooms and dollars being spent on non-revenue generating spaces. Many of us have dealt with customers that are trying to design a building. The last thing they want to do is build this huge plant just to support a non-revenue generating piece of equipment like a boiler. Miura has an unparalleled safety record. With more than 150,000 units in operation, we have recorded 0 catastrophic failures. Again, I want to remind you guys of the picture we just saw earlier. Even today, boilers are still exploding. Maintenance and capital costs. There are no tube replacements or repairs with Miura boilers. The pressure vessel is designed to last the entire predicted life of the boiler. This means a lower total cost of ownership. The reality is that most of our customers think that tube sheet repairs, fire tube repairs, replacements of doors, gaskets, so on and so on, are standard and routine maintenance. The reality, those are corrective actions and not routine maintenance. Miura requires none of that. You simply drain the boiler and do your inspection. There's your maintenance cost. Higher efficiency, right? So the lower higher efficiency equals lower natural resource and utility consumption, right? So again, with the price of all goods going up, it is critical that we have the most efficient systems possible for our customers. The other piece is that we eliminate the annual costly factory shutdowns. even inspecting a full Miura boiler room only requires you to shut down one unit at a time. It takes about less than 2 hours to cool and inspect. You activate that unit back on and move down the line. So again, you do not have to do a factory shutdown. Most of our customers have a full grasp of how much it costs to shut down for a day. We eliminate that cost. Okay, the last thing here is that we have a Quick Ship Express. Since our boilers are small footprint and easy to build and design, we have them on the shelf. If a customer ever needs a boiler after a critical failure, we can have a boiler on the truck in less than 24 hours. The flip side of this is that the customer is no longer required to do a rental boiler, which could run up to $20,000 per month. So we have a pretty robust continuous support system. Our maintenance team is actively pursuing maintenance contracts. If a customer chooses that they do not want to maintain their boilers, we can arrange for our maintenance teams to take over. This even opens up the door for extended warranties. And we could do that by monitoring the systems via our Miura Connect system, again, which gives full insight into the technician and the customer into the boiler room. I encourage all you guys to visit our Miura Training Knowledge Center. That's on our website. It just has some pretty basic and general knowledge of boilers. If you're not all familiar, feel free to visit there. Here's all my contact information, and that's all I got, Chris.
Thank you very much, Jason. That was great. A lot of great information there. If anyone has any questions about Miura or steam generation, please reach out to your Long sales engineer. I invite you to join us next week for the Long Coffee Break. The topic will be how low can you flow? An introduction to the smart air control valve VAV box. Now will be presented by Cutter Ballot. And everyone have a great week. Thanks for joining us.
Congratulations, Tim. Thank you, guys.